Hello and welcome to NTK's Academic Writing Q&A series, where we give answers to your questions. This is video 4, which answers the question, how do journal editors decide what's published and what isn't? My name's Stephanie Krueger. I've spent over 20 years in scholarly communications in different roles, and among other things, have assisted with over 40 journal articles in various disciplines. So one thing that starting out authors need to understand is that before your manuscript even gets to an editor, it's typically screened by a journal publisher. What they're looking for are formatting. Does your manuscript meet the journal style guidelines? Is there any plagiarism? And increasingly popular are AI checkers. They're still in their infancy, but over the course of your career, they're going to become more widespread. So all of these things are considered a kind of pre-screening of your manuscript before it gets to the editor. And I've included links into study slides about plagiarism detection and how to properly credit AI. And if all goes well, that said, uh, your manuscript will go to an editor of some kind who will then decide and make the final decision if your manuscript fits the scope of a journal or not, and if it should undergo double-blind peer review, which is still the most common form of peer review, even though there are other kinds out there. Peer reviewers are really the people that make the decisions about publishing your work for the editor. They're basically providing commentary on your manuscript that the editor then reads, and using that feedback will decide whether to publish or not. Very few manuscripts are accepted and published without any changes in my experience, and peer reviewers typically will often ask for revisions with major changes or minor changes. Sometimes this takes a long time, and most starting out authors don't understand this is because peer reviewers are volunteers who are conducting academic service, and there aren't that many good peer reviewers out there in many disciplines. What peer reviewers and editors are generally looking for is a coherent, well-written article that is scientifically excellent, has clearly defined research methods, and that contributes to the research canon, which means that it presents original work. So once peer review takes place, and let's say your manuscript is accepted with revisions, you need to revise your manuscript following the peer review feedback and explain to the peer reviewers and the editors what you changed in your manuscript and why you did it. I've included in the study slides a link to a sample response to reviewers, and it's a good idea to refer to specific lines in the manuscript and highlight what you changed in it so that the peer reviewers have an easy time of going back and seeing what you changed. Don't assume that the peer reviewers remember your manuscript. They're busy people, and you want to make it easy for them to understand what you changed in this phase of the process. So once you send that back to the editor of the journal, they will then typically send your response to the peer reviewers who will provide feedback on the revisions, and then they'll send that feedback to the editor who will make a recommendation and decide whether to publish it or to make additional modifications, which can happen. Don't be surprised. At this stage, everybody's working to make your manuscript the very best it can be. On a final note, I just wanted to let you know, as a starting out author, that many people don't check the final proof that comes back from the publisher right before it's published live in a scholarly database. But I encourage you to check that, because these artifacts, these published articles, live out there for a long time. And academic careers are long, and in the future you want to be proud of your work, not be embarrassed by it. So make sure you check the final proofs. The publisher will send you a notification once the work is actually published and live on its database. And if you have an ORCID identifier, typically most publishing systems will send a notification of the publication to ORCID, so it'll be added to your publication record automatically. If not, you can also add it to ORCID manually. If you want to learn more about this, don't know what ORCID is, follow the link in the study slides. And a final note, don't forget to add the published article to your academic CV, including the DOI, the Digital Object Identifier, the link to the publication. Doing this every time you publish will save you time and effort over the long term because you'll have your academic CV ready to go for future situations such as job interviews. So that's it. We've covered what happens for automated screening of manuscripts, what happens in the peer review process and interactions with editors, peer reviewers, and yourself, and a couple tips about what to do, including updating your CV. Doing this will save you time in the future. Good luck with your publishing efforts. Thank you for listening. This is Stephanie Krueger, the NTK Academic Writing Q&A series, and I wish you all best.